What's good, Steelers Nation? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I have a very special video for you guys. I'm going to be joined by Pittsburgh Steelers tight end Pat Freiermuth in the film room. We're going to break down some of the best plays of his young career. I'm super excited for you guys to see this really cool piece of content that we were able to put together. Hope you guys enjoy it. Just before we get started, please make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications, all that good stuff is greatly appreciated on my end. And without further ado, let's jump into the film room. All right, so this first play we're going to go over is from week 2 of the 2022 campaign. This is against New England down here in the red zone. We got a 3-by-1 formation with you kind of isolated up at the top of the screen. Little quick slant touchdown. I want to kind of break this one down just from your perspective on like when you're, isolated at the top of the screen right here, you got this DB playing inside shade. Like what are some of the things you're looking for in terms of, how you're going to win off the snap?
Yeah, so I actually remember this play. We saw it on film during the week. New England likes to, in the red zone, short yards down here. They like to play some like type of man coverage. That's what they're heavy on. And so we saw, I think it was Miami maybe ran this play against them with the tight end isolated. And we kind of knew, he was going to be inside leverage on me. On this point, I had to make sure I threaten him to outside because obviously I can still run an outbreaker on this. So I quick jabbed on that, try to get back inside. And knowing that the safety, I think that's Peppers, is going to relate to Naj, either him or the running back. So, if the running back, if the linebacker's locked in on the running back and he beats him to the flat right away, then we cool. But since Peppers relates to Naj and leaves me kind of that voided area, that was a right read. And, it was a hell of a play.
Yeah, it was a good throw by Mitch too. One thing that I like about this for you too, especially because the safety's like inside leverage, you do a good job kind of hitting him with this A step, and he immediately opens the gate to you, and you kind of can just take it. And then I also kind of like this too, like the subtle kind of push off. They don't call offensive pass interference at the NFL level, so you can kind of get away with a little bit.
Exactly.
But I like kind of the lean and push a little bit to get that easy separation for an easy touchdown. So.
Sure.
It was a nice play. I think this is the next week. I'm sure you probably remember this one. This was a viral play. This is right after, Kenny came into the game. Yeah, he got absolutely clocked on this. Heck of a play, heck of a throw. Yeah. But I wanted to go over this one just from a scheme standpoint too, and kind of talk me through a little bit about your route here, kind of at the foot of the bunch.
Yeah, so I think it's 3rd down, so 3rd and 7, I think it is. So going back to a film study, kind of knew Jets were going to play some type of man coverage. They're playing that a lot. Early in the year, rookie quarterback, bring pressure, all that kind of stuff. Bring a 5-man here. And so obviously this is kind of our bread and butter on 3rd down stuff, is just kind of having me get off the line of scrimmage and kind of reading what's going on. So my thought process right now is, I see all these guys, the DBs kind of, lurking around, and obviously, leaving Tay backside. But in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, well, if they're going to leave Tay singled up like that, throw that ball to Deontay. But so I'm thinking the safety's going to work over with him. Jeff's probably doing a good job disguising. But with the press, with the bunch pressed up like this, and me seeing that he's going to relate to Chase on the race, I can understand that there's going to be some type of man coverage, especially with Quan. I mean, that's Quan. He run outside like that. So really trying to sell the outbreaker and then, breaking inside, with all the voided area in there.
Yeah, now, since you're at the foot of the bunch, I see you kind of get this skip release off the line. Is this so do you have the option here to take this outside, or is this like kind of a locked route where you're supposed to kind of follow the drag underneath?
Yeah, so it's an option route. So basically how this concept works is, if you can rewind back to the start of it. So the point, Chase is going to take outside release, a race ball to the front pylon. That's his angle. Departure just kind of clear it out. If he wins right off the snap or there's no safety over help, that ball is going to chase. The outside guy, GP, he's going to run a shallow, just kind of if there's any zone coverage, take that linebacker out of it or anyone in that window, just in case they're playing me outside leverage and I break a slant. So me, my rules were just kind of, arc release, let them clear out, get to, my depth 4-6 yards, and then I can either break it out in or in. So if Quan were to stay inside leverage on this, I would have just broken out. So I'm just going off of the linebacker, whoever were to match up on me, leverage.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know y'all ran this concept quite a bit. I think there's actually another play in this video that I'm pretty sure is either similar or the exact same concept. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, the bunch stuff, I mean, it's always good to, get somebody that's a featured pass catcher at the foot of the bunch, give them a free release and kind of let them cook. Especially the option routes, man. Like tight end option routes they're low key a cheat code, especially if you got a quarterback and tight end that's on the same page. And
Absolutely.
this is a really good game. You guys almost pulled this one out at the buzzer, but you had a couple key catches in the fourth quarter. I kind of wanted to go over.
Yeah.
This one right here, we've done some stuff on the channel about the sale concept and Arthur Smith's offense, and want to kind of talk me through this one. This is against Miami. Like, what are you seeing? Like pre-snap here, we got the linebacker coming over late, but he's inside leverage. Talk a little bit about this one.
Yeah, so obviously we do our little motion deal and switch release, and I go out in the slot, and I'm peeking the corners to kind of see. So like right now, their eyes are on the quarterback, so I'm like, all right, it's not man coverage, not going to play like that. They'll probably bail. So there's going to be some type of cover three or fire zone, obviously with that safety deep in the middle of the field. So obviously 42 relates to me, so I'm like, all right, well, like you said, sell concept. So I'm trying to sell that over, kind of get his hips locked that way. I didn't really do much of a sell on this one, but based off leverage, I didn't really have to. So,
Right.
just kind of threaten him, dig him, put him more down to his leverage. He's allowing me to win outside, so just roll it and win it with speed.
Yeah, definitely important too. Like at the bottom of the screen with Deontay, like his job pretty much is just to burn this thing out and try to take the lid off and make sure he keeps that cornerback high and outside to where he has to respect the threat of over the top. And I think you do a good job stemming this route inside. Like you said, like he's playing inside leverage. You don't have to give him a ton, but you at least want to have him respect that over route. And it gives this, with you stemming it inside, it allows the quarterback all this room towards the sideline to kind of lay the ball to you. And you make a nice catch, like going to the ground right there too. And
if you were to go back to that, so like fast forward a little bit, so right there, so
yeah,
like he's outside, so like I stem inside to try and get him to come with me, so he's outside leverage there. So if I were to continue this, technically, landmark wise, they want me to kind of get to the hash, but since it's so far buried outside of me, if I get to the hash, well then like shit, like I can't get back outside. So just kind of playing with the leverage there. And then obviously, I stem inside. He's not really moving much, so I got to bring it back vertical to then be able to get back out clean.
right. I think that's good too, because like you can tell, like once you're coming out of your break, is when Kenny's like hitting his back foot. So like that's the other thing too that a lot of people kind of miss. It's like, yeah, you want to make sure you're running the routes in terms of like trying to mess with the defender's leverage, but at the same time, you have to be on time too, because the quarterback's expecting you to be out of your break. Kenny hits his back foot here and makes a nice throw. So, yeah, I mean, you guys too. Like this was like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and like this one was fourth down. I mean, this is like one of the best, like one of the biggest plays. I feel like really a huge play for Kenny early on right here. You guys almost made the comeback, but talk a little bit about this one from a pre-snap. Y'all are getting a pretty obvious like two-man look, which two-man's like a death sentence for passing offenses too. But talk a little bit about this one for you.
Yeah, so like you said, it's two-man. Obviously, it's fourth down and 8, maybe game on the line. Obviously, we're gonna kind of expect Miami to kind of bring 5 and 22. Like, I'm shocked at it because Kenny obviously can run it a little bit, but obviously they're gonna try and confuse him. Just 20, like you said, 22 man is a hard thing to beat. My route here is just kind of it was called a delta in the past. So basically, I have 3 options. I can break it off. If it's man coverage, I can break it off. If it's one high man coverage, I can break it off flat at like 8 to 10 yards, break it across the field. If it's zone, so I kind of want to, if it was one high, I kind of want to chase that corner at the bottom of the screen covering GP. If GP were to run a go route, then I'm trying to chase that corner's back feet to try and get to that dead spot in that cover 3 zone. But now it's 22 man, so I get the option. If it's 2 high safeties, I'm taking the middle of the field. So obviously, I'm pretty sure this is Rowe, Eric Rowe. So
It is.
With his inside leverage on this, I'm gonna kind of press him, but I gotta get over the top because I'm really, truthfully, other than Chase, I'm really the only answer on this. So I gotta beat him over the top. Technically, I should have kept it thin, like vertical, but and Kenny maybe technically put it back shoulder. But me and Kenny, the relationship we had, he knew that since I beat him so clean out that second level, I was gonna wrap him to get away from that backside safety. So, me and him are on the same page on this one, and it was a hell of a throw, and like I said, a big time moment.
I can't remember if it was you or if it was somebody else. And I guess I should have looked at this before we recorded. But I remember like Ben back in the day, he was talking about this route with somebody, and he was telling, I don't know if it was you or not, but he was telling somebody like just beat him with speed, and like
It
that
was
was
me.
the
Yeah,
big.
it was me. So
It
it
was
was
you.
like me,
Okay.
me and him when I was a rookie. This is your actually like this. When I was a rookie, me and him watched the cut up of Heath running this route all the time, which was
Nice.
crazy. So just watching him run it and like seeing, every quarterback sees it differently. So it's
Right.
cool to, and it's the easy route to adjust on. So it's cool. Basically, just got to win at the second level and kind of go up that. But yeah, it was a hell of a ball.
Yeah, and I like that too, because like you said, like there's not really, I mean, 2-man is really difficult anyway. Like it's at that sense for quarterbacks. Like you mentioned Kenny's
Yeah.
running ability. Like
Mhm.
if you got a scrambler, like you don't want to play 2-man, but like when you get into these like third and fourth and long situations, like that's some of the times where like NFL defenses will pull this out.
Yep.
And really like that kind of bender route up the middle, splitting the safeties is like one of the only kind of answers to that. Because you got those defenders playing inside leverage. You got to win it. You got to win it with speed. So but I thought that was a really good clip. This is one against Philly. I kind of wanted to touch on this one too because I think this is another option route
Yeah, it
for
is. Yeah,
you
yeah.
potentially. This might be the one that I was talking about. It looks kind of similar to the one we saw earlier, but just talk me through a little bit. Like I saw when you were going into motion, like you kind of peeked towards the middle of the field. Like, are you watching to see if like anybody's following you for like a man zone tell or like you
Yeah.
looking to see the alignment of the linebackers?
Yeah, so they're a nickel defense, obviously, and so Philly, from if I can remember right, they mix in variations of man and two deep and stuff like that. And we ran a lot of bunch stuff up until this point. I think this was week 7 or week 6 of that year. So I kind of got a feel of how teams were gonna play and like adjustments and stuff. So me coming over, I kind of see that 22, I think it's Rat maybe the safety over there, and I kind of figure they're boxing it because Edwards is kind of moving out to me in a little bit. So I'm kind of like, if a team boxes a bunch, it's kind of hard to win on an option route. But Tay and Chase again do a great job doing their job, understanding what we're trying to get done. Chase does a great job, outside releasing Maddox, as you can see before this. So Max is looking at TJ Edwards and kind of giving them a little motion, like they're going to in and out it. So they're not going to fall, which is basically they're boxing it. So Tate does a good job getting the linebacker out there. Chase does a good job running through his outside, creating some contact. And I'm just kind of sitting down in this void, expecting the ball, and then just trying to get vertical, drop step, get vertical.
Yeah. And like just for like people to a lot of scheme or X's and O nerds, for the channel probably already know this, but like when Pat says like boxing, he's meaning basically you got 4 defenders to the bunch, and this is just a common NFL adjustment where you basically have a guy taking like first in, first out, and then the second level defenders, the third level in this case, are taking second in, second out, or deep. And but like I said, I think you do a good job, just being patient off the line of scrimmage, but also like I think it highlights some of the stuff too, just in terms of playing in the slot or playing in these bunch sets. It's a lot more that just goes into it than just, hey, go run the route. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to go, like when you're in the slot and you are, especially like in some of these NFL offenses, you got to read multiple defenders at the same time. And that definitely takes, an adjustment period. This is an incompletion, but I wanted to talk about this one, man, because this is this. I know this probably pains you to see still, but I want to talk about a little bit about this concept because I've seen you guys run this a lot, and I just had some questions on it. So at the top of the screen, like the way that I learned this concept was called like China. It's like the two, you get the 2 end breakers and you get the corner from number 3. I saw you guys run this a ton in the red zone, like really like 2-3 years ago. But then like getting you as like kind of the nub tight end down at the bottom of the screen was something y'all did a lot in like your first 2 years in particular. But talk to me a little bit about this play.
Yeah, so starting at the top of the screen, I forget what we called it just because we want to know offense and stuff like that. But basically, if it's number 3, GP has the option. If it's 2 high safeties, take it the middle of the field, or if it's 1 high, break a corner. Obviously, quarterback's just going to do his read on that side. But kind of going through film, we obviously knew Atlanta was going to play that outside leverage squat technique on me. And first 2 high, basically this is dead. I thought coming up, I'm like, all right, they're gonna play some type of quarter, some type of great job guys in it, some type of 2 high. And then as the snap went on, that safety dropped down for support and kind of the middle of the field. And so obviously I knew I had leverage on 24. You
Yeah.
know, keep widening them so I can make that window bigger for KP to throw it in. I kind of got stuck a little bit. You know, when I was breaking it, my feet kind of got all kind of twisted just because of his leverage of squatting and me trying to break at the same kind of distance.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I should have, if you were to go, I should have taken a little more thin.
Yeah.
Or to take it like kind of more thin. Kenny could throw me in there a little more, maybe or loft it a little bit. If I kept that angle right there, then
Mm-hmm.
he could have dotted on me a little better to then have me
Yeah.
break. But yeah, we were working this all week in practice. Definitely wish that we were able to come away with this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, it was so close, man. I remember seeing this one like live, and I was like, man, they
Yeah,
had him, especially because like if you're playing, that's a big part of like film study too. If a defense, if they want to play like single high against trips, like normally that post safety he's going to shade to the trip side,
absolutely.
and then like this is kind of a good way, like these 3x1 like nub sets or whatever, a good way to get you matched up like one on one. I
Exactly.
think you do a really good job here too. Like you said, you wish you would have taken it a little bit, maybe thinner,
Yeah,
more of a linear path. But you do a good job, getting Terrell, who's a heck of a corner, man. You do a good job getting him to open up, and then you use your physicality to kind of create a little space at the break point, and then kind of run away from the defender. So that was a
exactly.
really good route. I think that was. Definitely speaks to like the trust. I feel like that the offense, the things that you can do in terms of they can trust you to go out there and win one on one of the best corners in the league,
Exactly.
and that's you don't see that very often in terms of like the tight end position. But
Yeah.
let's look at this one. I know you remember this play. You need to go. You need to tell Art. When you walk in tomorrow on OTAs, you need to show him this. Be like, look, this is what I'm capable of. I need
Yeah,
I
we
need
already
100
talked
targets.
about this when I first got in there. We were talking about this game actually because
Oh, really?
yeah, we were talking about how Steelers fans travel, and I was like,
Yeah.
we played in Atlanta. It was pretty much a home game.
Yep, and now you guys get to open the season there this year. But
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit about this play, man.
Yeah. So, you know, same kind of formation to begin with. Give them a 3x1. I'm on the upside, and you know, motion gunner over, just kind of undress it. You know, they're doing a good job disguising it. It's looking like man coverage right now. You know, they're doing a great job. And then as gunner comes over, I'm kind of peeking the corner. I can kind of see him at my periph. He's kind of looking at the quarterback, and then I'm looking at the safety over me. It's kind of like he's kind of in a weird position to get me man coverage, or he's kind of in like
Hmm.
a no man. I can see him peeking. So the base of my route is I'm an option route. So if it's too high like it is, cover two, especially, I'm just gonna sit down in that dead zone, kind of find the dead area. If it's man, I can either break outside or inside based off his leverage. But if it were to be man, I kind of knew I was kind of dead just based off the linebackers inside. So I'm thinking outbreaker all the way.
Yeah.
And then adjust to kind of cover two. Obviously sat down. Kenny did a great job dart me with the ball, and it's big. It's big. Gunner did a good job here outside releasing this corner to kind of get him width from that dead area in cover two. Because if he were to inside release him or kind of give a half-ass
Yeah.
release, the play wouldn't have worked because the corner would just bit on it
Right.
and picked it off. But so Gunner did a good job. Outside releasing on this.
Yeah, like you said, I think Gunner taking that outside release, gives you more space to work. But it still, even though like you kind of got this like stick route or whatever, and you do fade to the outside, but you're going to take a shot here from the corner. Of course, you end up breaking the tackle anyway. But it's definitely a good read from you. I think this is like some of the stuff that I want to see like more of too. Like you guys saw a ton of like cover two last year, or really the last 2 years. But the Falcons are kind of playing this like two roll coverage where they're getting the safety in front of you, he's dropping back, and they're rolling the other safety over to the top of the screen. But this is awesome. I mean, I'm not sure if you do this or not, but like 2 years ago, you actually led the Steelers in yards after the catch. Like it's pretty unusual for like a tight end to do. But I think it was like 289 or something like that. But you led the team like by far in yards after catch. I think again, that's just another way I feel like you could be utilized within the offense.
Mm, absolutely.
Wanted to kind of go over this one too, because I know this is a very this was a prominent play call for you guys last year. I remember you guys ran this a lot against San Francisco
Yeah, we did.
in the opener, and you guys ran it quite a bit throughout the year. But this old school shallow cross to me. But you
Yep.
want to talk through a little bit about like kind of your route or the progression?
Yeah, so I did a shitty job at the top of the round on this, but back into it. But yeah, so basically, we got post so we got a shallow. Basically, he's gonna clear it out of his man coverage. He can get the ball. Just kind of get across. We got a post by I think Calvin or GP, one of the two. And then I'm blanking on the other route they run. But basically, for me, I'm kind of getting over the ball. If it's zone, sit down. If I'm getting master man, kind of break back down to where I came from, because obviously you don't want to get in the window with like a poster or something like that. So yeah, just kind of inside release, splaying on this, knowing that he's kind of sitting after he go over the ball. So I'm gonna inside release him, get to my depth. For some reason, so it's an inside curl. So the linebacker's drifting to his spot, number 5. So it obviously vacates the middle of the zone. I think Calvin killed him on a post earlier in this. So obviously the safeties are playing deep, so they don't get bit on that again. But KB did a great job letting it open up and dart me with the ball.
Yeah, it's a nice throw by Kenny. I know, like the shallow cross thing. It's an old concept, but man, it still works, especially if you get zone coverage. That OTB or the over the ball routes usually pretty money, especially if you got linebackers that aren't as great in coverage.
Exactly.
This one was like the best game. You unfortunately had a bunch of injuries last year, which really sucked. But this was a huge game for you. This is the first game with Mike Sullivan as the play caller. Like, can you talk a little bit about like your all's preparation? Because this is actually the first play of the game. Like, they go to you right over the middle of the field. Like, what was the opening script like that week? Trying to get you involved early and often.
Yeah, like you said, they were just trying to get me going. Obviously I missed, I think, 5 games before that with a hamstring, and definitely frustrated. And Cleveland the week before, our offense was all out of whack. So, just trying to get plays and stuff and formations and stuff like that we were all comfortable with, and just kind of calming us down. I try to do too much, but we ran this play before a little bit. So basically, we're gonna play action fake. We're gonna pull the guard, get the linebackers to step up, sell some type of gap scheme or pull or something like that. And we kind of had a feeling that Cincinnati would be in some type of too high. I think the percentages going into this game, I think it was like, out of the 10 games they played before, I think only one of them they didn't start the game in some type of too high coverage. So we're kind of banking on that. And then so they're playing some type of Tampa 2 here. We knew Logan 55 was kind of be that middle runner. That's usually how he is. So trying to attack Pratt, him in this hook drop coverage and just ear hole right behind him. And we knew that Logan was going to open his hips to the field, to speed. So obviously, having him open up to the field really helped this play, because if he opened up to me, it would have kind of been dead. So just kind of going off of what they're teaching their defenders and adjusting towards that. But it was a hell of a play and hell of a throw.
Yeah, now like this is kind of like, to me, a variation of like 4 verts, like you said, like with the play action, like power concept. Now for you, like if you guys were to get, some unexpected like single high or whatever, like you wouldn't bend this back inside, like you would probably
so the reason why I bend it behind Pratt is because it's too high. So I'm still reading this. So it's basically just a seam for me, seam read. So if it were to go some type of, if Battle here was to drop down, I think that's him. If he were to drop down and they were on some type of, one high variation coverage, I would have kept it right 2 yards inside the numbers, just kept it thin. I probably would have been dead on this. We've probably gone somewhere else. But
yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's a good throw. Like you said, with Wilson, usually like if you're in some type of Tampa 2, you get the middle linebacker, he's going to open up to the strong side or to speed, like you said, to be able to carry this. And then you guys came back. I think this might have been the very next drive. This is like a 3-by-1, and they hit you again over the middle. So this was a little bit different of a play call, but definitely another huge explosive play.
Yeah, so I don't really know what, like, since he was really playing this, because it's not like Logan didn't really open up to Tampa 2. He was kind of just dropping. So I don't really know what they were doing, but was fortunate enough. I have a 3rd and 14. You're obviously thinking they're going to protect the sticks, some type of too high coverage. Not going to do anything stupid. But I'm reading this. So like I said before with Miami, it's some type of too high, bend vertical right down the middle of the field. If it's one high, breaking across into a crosser. So fortunate that they, obviously I know Logan's going to try and get hands on here. So swat that down and get over the top and go from there. But it was a great decision.
Yeah, you mentioned too, like just getting hands off you, throughout the route. That's a big part too, because like when you're playing inside, you're gonna try to get rerouted and all that stuff, and doing a good job keeping yourself clean is a big part of that. I kind of threw this in here, like kind of an insignificant play. Like you do a good job making something happen after the catch here, but I kind of wanted to like touch on this. For you guys, y'all ran this a ton. Like we've talked about it a ton on the channel. I call this like shock. It's like an expansion hitch, and then you get the slot fade, and then the kind of the stick route from usually you have the chance to like sit down and break out. Is that like is that kind of similar to what you guys call it?
Yeah, so so same thing. We called it. I'm pretty sure we called it Shocky actually last year.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then yeah, so basically the same thing. So he's if he's gonna have one-on-one with GP, obviously he's gonna take that. Why wouldn't you? But
Right.
then we're looking at obviously Tay here and that nickel defender. So let's just say for some reason that nickel defender, buzzed to me right away, and there was some type of man in that corner was on Allen. Then obviously the ball would have gone up to Tay. But since that nickel, Tay does a great job expanding him. I'm basically just one-on-one with this Mike linebacker. So I'm obviously like that matchup a lot. Definitely probably should have pushed my depth a little more just to kind of try and get his hips going. But it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, so just trying to get the first. But yeah, it was a good ball, and yeah, pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, you slipped there too, like kind of out of your break. But like one thing I like too about your game is I feel like some of those yards after catch opportunities, like you have a good feel for like defenders that are coming to tackle you from behind, and I think that's a big part of like playing like in the slot or whatever too, is like understanding like where defenders are going to come from, and being able to break tackles like immediately, that quick transition from receiver to runner. So this one was another interesting one. This is a big 3rd down. I think in the second half.
This was right after the delay, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
2nd or 3rd one in that game.
Nice. Yeah, I know, man, this is like the stretch of the season last year that was just brutal to watch from a lot of different standpoints. But this is kind of like, I'm used to calling this like a bow concept, is like a sit and then kind of a dig route. I'm not sure what you guys called it, but can you talk a little bit about just like the progression here and like kind of what your job is like coming off the ball?
Yeah, so they motion me over. I'm kind of just seeing what's going on. Obviously, I kind of see that there's 2 safeties that could go deep. I'm just reading it. So same thing. If it's too high quarters, I'm gonna break out. If it's too high cover 2, I'm gonna kind of sit down that dead spot. But the kind of my rules on this is like see green grass, break out. Obviously I noticed the corner blitzing. Not a lot of NFL teams do corner blitzes, a lot of college thing, but for some reason Arizona does it, and I like corner blitz, especially if you're tight split like this, like GP is. So obviously they do that, and I kind of see some type of guy dropping out and stuff relating to me, and so Buddha does a great job. If I were to break out right now, Buddha would have came down and friggin' let me up, but since I stopped, he's allowed to kind of, based off his rules, go relate to GP, knowing that he has help inside by that linebacker. And so you can see Buddha right now like kind of squatting, reading me. If I were to break out now, he would have broke down. So they're playing kind of some type of crazy 22 or whatever. So just reading. So.
Yeah, that's good details too, like about the top of the route, just making sure like you're not drawing extra attention earlier in the progression. Like Mitch looks like he's reading the other side of this.
Exactly, and it's harder too. So like, see how like our big thing was, see how GP gets vertical and I kind of in his wake. That makes it harder for a defender to be like, okay, because then you see GP running at you full speed, and then it's like, okay, well, where's me? Where's that?
Right.
I thrive and I enjoy off of getting those stacks, because it's hard for a defense to be like, oh shit, like this guy broke in or my guy broke out, what I'm saying? Something like that.
Right. And it kind of messes with the rules too. Like if you're in these like tight stacks and stuff like that, that usually it's the guy on the point, but like you're getting some type of vertical release. But like you said, that kind of wake from the foot of the stack is kind of difficult, because it does play with defenders' rules. Like if they're playing some type of banjo, like some type of in and out or a box or something like that, like not being able to get that vision quickly. And usually these type of like bow concepts are like the high lows and stuff. They're oftentimes on the back side of the progression. So you do a good job like being patient, and then also like just nice hands catch and making sure you get the first down. This is like a really simple concept, but I think there's some cool kind of details to it. This just looks like regular kind of like old school stick.
Yeah. So basically, we call this twig. So Tay actually does a great job looking up that, knowing that he's someone's. So realistically, someone's going to come out from where no one's going to line up, 4 guys to that side.
Right.
And obviously we kind of knew someone's going to, especially with all the secondary guys off, someone's going to drop. And so Tay does a great job of kind of reading that and creating traffic for that flat defender so I can get a free release and, get some free space. Obviously Mason does a great job, picking up the snap and getting the ball off in time. But, just easy concept. My landmark is 2 to 3 past the ball, the original line of vision. If I weren't to get this right now, then I would throttle down just in case he came back to me late. But
right.
It was a great job by Deontay really made this play, to be honest.
Yeah. Anytime you're getting like some type of like single high, like cover 3, and you're trying to run this kind of like stick concept, like the innermost receiver, like him being able to kind of almost shield that that curl flat defender is huge because it allows you, because like right now, like the leverage that you've got, like the soft spot in cover 3 is, the flat. And being able to, hit you, like you said, Mason does a really good job, like not only, picking up the snap, but getting you in stride to where you can kind of catch it and immediately get upfield. So, but yeah, shout out to him on that one.
Yes.
And then like, I know we're running quick on time, man. So just kind of wanted to run through, I know we talked about this play a little bit prior to, but I'm excited to see what you're going to be able to do in this new look offense. So can you talk a little bit about like, how it's been so far? I mean, I know OTAs start tomorrow, but can you talk just a little bit about, your expectations for this season and, how excited you are to be playing in Arthur Smith's system?
I'm excited, man. It's good to kind of be here, and he's doing a great job installing everything, just to kind of make sure the understanding of the whys and the whats, and get the formation down, because this scheme, as you can tell, there's a lot of movement, motions, formation, all that. So if you can't get that down, then it's kind of the rest of the time is pointless. So it's been a great job. I love all the places that they're lining me up on, and watching film on Kyle. Obviously, we're kind of close, just growing up together and doing the whole recruiting process in college and training together for the NFL draft. But it's been cool to watch him and see the different stuff that Coach Smith has had him do, and then obviously with Jonnu and Prue, just seeing what they do and seeing what is asked to the tight ends. It's a great offense for tight ends, and I'm very excited for it. And this is just obviously a play that highlights what I could be doing, but it's great, man. It's awesome so far. So we'll see how it looks on the field and tomorrow.
Yeah, I know you guys. Y'all came in together in terms of the NFL, like you mentioned, going through like the recruitment, the draft process. I'm sure I know you've talked about. I think getting with him a little bit to just get his thoughts on the offense, and I'm extremely excited to see like how everything's going to play out. Next season for you, entering a contract season. I think that there's, with Tay kind of going to Carolina, like there's a lot of targets available. Hopefully, the injuries and stuff, like, hopefully you're lucky.
That's my biggest thing is like, I'm very excited for it, but I know obviously I have to stay healthy this year, and I'm excited. So it should be a great year, and hopefully there's a lot of me to be asked, and hopefully I can capitalize.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I think there's a lot of money for you to be made. I'm projecting. I've said this on multiple platforms, but we hit on it a little bit with the sale concept video. But I'm projecting a pretty big season for you, just because I think the opportunity is going to be there. I think the system is really catered towards a lot of the things that you do really well as a receiver. So without further ado, man, like I really appreciate you jumping on, talking some ball with me. Thank you so much for taking some time and doing some film stuff with me and the rest of the YouTube subscribers.
Absolutely, man. It's been a pleasure. It's great. I love watching your stuff. Definitely know, what's going on, and definitely be prideful of your work. And it's been awesome to follow along with your film stuff, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And without further ado, peace and love.
Peace out.